me again. I feel like it's like a nightcap right now. All right, so I want to jump on, chat a little bit about our goals, executing our vision, all that good stuff. I think I love chatting with you guys. But I have to be honest, I think one of my favorite people to chat with is like people with these big dreams, these big ambitious dreams, and not just like the secret ones that no one knows about, but like I've got two full-time jobs and trying to get this other dream off the ground ones kind of visionaries, right? Maybe it's the Caribbean in me. But this evening's tea will be dedicated to all the visionaries out there in this space. My name is Amanda Fludd, and welcome to the evening tea. T stands for Transformation, Empowerment, and Assessment, self-assessment. It also just so happens I really love tea. Tonight I'm drinking like a mango green tea. But yeah, I am your resident mindset coach and real life therapist, and I get to really infuse a lot of what I do on the couch to support your success. And tonight is one of those moments, and I thought we would talk about bringing your vision or goals to reality. Hey. All right, so who's been watching the Olympics? What countries are you cheering for? Drop that flag in the chat. I want to know who you're watching, who you're rooting for. Tell me, who are you rooting for? I'll tell you who I'm rooting for. And I will tell you in the chat, but I can't get to it. All right, I'm rooting for Trinidad. I just love the excitement of the Olympics, and maybe also because I'm a runner, a past life runner, but that's what I love about it. But one of the things I found really interesting was Simone Biles, right? She found herself in a position that it was difficult for her to kind of bring her vision into reality. And it really wasn't rolling out as she imagined, right? Has anyone ever experienced that before, right? Where you had this great plan, you're ready to show up, you've been studying, practicing, rehearsing, and then when it's showtime, it doesn't go the way that you expected. If that's happened to you before, put a yes in the chats. I know that you relate. I know that you've had that experience. I know that you're with me. Sometimes our own fears, right, or the things that we believe about ourselves, whether it's internal or kind of imposed by other people, right? If you think about Simone's situation, I think a lot of her fears was really kind of imposed by everyone else, right? Because here she is, this great athlete, this great Black woman, and like they were already setting her up by kind of penalizing her for being great, right? So she stepped into this arena and it was like, no, you're too good to be here, right? What you do is not going to count as much as everybody else, right? Hey, Sophia, and thank you so much for dropping that. Yes, I know I'm not the only one, right? That I come up with a plan, I show up, and it's like, what the hell? Right? So Simone had a plan, she showed up, but her fears also showed up, right? And I think she was good, but it could have also been some of the pressures outside of her, right? So sometimes it's that pressure outside of us as well as that pressure inside of us that's kind of this bad combination, okay? And it can absolutely get in the way of bringing your vision to life. And regardless of who you are, Simone showed us that like you could be on the highest of scales, or you can be just the everyday person and have to deal with anxiety, fear, and doubt. Okay. And for me, this is where the skills come in to help you understand the reasons why you don't show up, or you can't show up, or you put things off and can't follow through. And this is where skills come in to help you find the solutions, right? The solutions to the roadblocks that you might encounter, so that instead the emotions, right, or the doubt doesn't kind of get in the way. Like Simone, she had to pause, right? She had to pause because the emotions were really getting in the way. And I'm sure after this, she's going to be doing a lot of work to figure out like what happened to me, right? So I want us to really like get real for a minute here and talk about these emotions, okay? What are the emotions that make it hard for you to show up sometimes? Put it in the chat, and I'm going to wait for you. So think about it. For her, it may have been doubt, right? What are the emotions? that get in the way for you sometimes when it comes to showing up. And what do I mean by showing up? Maybe it's making a presentation at work, right? Maybe it's like you've got to do a presentation or a talk or like a live or something like this, right? Whatever comes up for you makes it harder for you to be present in certain spaces. But I'm curious about what is the emotions that you notice that come up for you in those spaces. And I want you to kind of be bold, be brave, and drop it in the chat, because you'll find sometimes you're not alone. And that's why I ask these questions too, because one, I want you to think, two, I want you to see that the other people that occupy the space with you often share the same emotional experience as you, right? And we all often don't know what the hell to do. And that's why I like to talk. All right, for me and my clients, it's often shame. Shame is some of the emotions I see as to why people hesitate, they don't show up, they don't get things done, or they back out of situations. Doubt, right? A lot of anxiety, and then with that, frustration. That's what I see. So keep dropping in the chat what comes up for you. And if anything, today, this is your reminder that you are a visionary. You are awesome. But not all of you are problem solvers, right? And not all of you have the skills to deal with your emotions, and that's okay, but you've got to figure that out. So girl, you can get your life together, right? Or guy, dude, whoever you are, you can get your life together. See, because if you are the CEO of your vision, you should know how to reach out and find support, right? Or at least be willing to when you've sort of tried everything else and still find yourself stuck. A big part of us as a community is we don't know how to ask for help, or there's a lot of shame there. There's a lot of resistance there. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself an expert like me. I love other people's problems. And I really love, more than anything, I think, working in partnership with people to kind of solve the obstacles, like overthinking and putting things off because of your fears. Because truly, you guys are all really capable, right? But sometimes it's just a noise that gets in the way, right? The noise outside, like we noticed with Simone Biles recently in the Olympics, or sometimes it's our own internal noise and what we bring to the table and what we show up with, okay? If this is making sense, drop a 1 in the chat for me, because I'm like talking to myself, which is always hard in this space. So if it's making sense to you, what you're hearing so far, put a 1. So I know that you're with me, okay? So I want you to keep listening, and we'll talk about that. How do we get out of our heads? How do we stop putting things off? How do we stop our fears from getting in the way, okay? All right, I'm gonna take a breath, catch myself, okay? So sometimes, it's about getting out of your own way. And I actually think that it's a really important topic, because a lot of times we just don't realize that we are our own worst problem, right? And we put a lot of external blame on everybody else. But, like once you're a grown up, like you've got to take responsibility for grown up problems, honey. And some of that is that I've got to make some changes with myself, okay? And I actually think I want to do like a whole class on that, like how to get out of your own way and get things done. And if that would be interesting to you, a class on getting out of your own way, put a 2. I know that you're with me, you're down for a class. All right, so I do like to give you guys some things to work with. So let's talk about those goals. Let's talk about how to get your goals and how to get out of your own way. That might be the class actually, procrastination edition. Today, let's talk about fears and executing those visions. All right. So a lot of times it is procrastination, but procrastination is a form of anxiety, and it's also a form of fear, right? And that is really what kind of gets in the way of you and your goals and getting things done. It's fear. It's what I'm thinking about this. It's what I'm expecting about this. It's whether or not I think I can do this. It's just a lot of noise, right? So how can we ensure that we're able to bring our vision to life? Because a lot of you guys have such amazing things, amazing gifts to bring to the world, but you're kind of second guessing yourself, and I want you to get over that already. So let's see. I'm going to say that you got to take a moment to figure out what the fear is, right? What is that specific fear that's holding you back? And if you have some paper, grab it really quick. I think we're going to do this really fast. I won't get into the whole rigmarole process, but for now, I want you to know that there's some really common fears out there that people face. You can see which ones you recognize in yourself, right? The fear of saying no, So you don't want to miss out on the next big opportunity, or you say yes to everything, but at the cost to you. The fear of making decisions. A lot of people procrastinate and put things off because they're afraid of decisions or they're afraid of success, right? I'm going to say that's a fear too, the fear of success. Sometimes it's the fear of offending other people, right? Which one's hitting for you now, right? So like some business owners are afraid to write, great content or to speak up or to talk about what they do because they fear maybe, I don't know, making somebody else feel bad, right? The fear of delegating, right? We like to take on everything for ourselves and we're very afraid to let things go. Or sometimes our fears are financial, right? So these are some of the common ones I see in folks that occupy the space that I do, as well as the fear of success. Okay, so you don't trust yourself. You don't know if you're capable of handling more, right? Be it more clients, more responsibility, things like that, right? I just noticed I talk a lot with my hands. I'm going to drop them now. All right, so the list goes on and on, but can you relate? Can you relate to any of those fears? Do you see yourself in those fears? Okay. But the good news is that you can do something about it. There is a process that you can follow to kind of uncover your fears and clear them away so that you can kind of step into like a better mindset, right? And be that CEO of your life and execute your vision. And I've been yapping to give you enough time to get that paper and pen. So I hope you got it. Okay. So where do you start when it comes to executing, right? Oh, what's up, T? I see you. Hey, Sophia again. So start by actually defining your fears. So pull out that paper, pull out a journal and answer this question. What am I afraid of when it comes to growing, running my business, or being a leader? What am I afraid of? You don't have to do this now, but write the question down so you could do it a little later, okay? And just kind of freestyle with it for like 10 to 20 minutes and see what comes out, okay? And see if anything surprises you, and then you can spend more time writing on that and kind of dig deeper into it, all right? So again, when we're talking about fears and getting to it, this is how we do it. Just get that paper out and start writing and ask yourself that question. 2, I want you to play back the tape. Think back to your childhood. Do you think any of the fears that show up for you that stop you from really doing the things that you want and really following through on your goals, do you think any of those fears came from or started with your childhood, right? So maybe your interaction with an adult, maybe an interaction with a parent. Do you feel like some of those fears kind of started from there? And now this isn't about like blaming anybody, okay? It's simply about acknowledging that some of our fears are buried really deep in our closet, and some of it may have come from our experiences with other people or with early relationships, all right? 3, I want you to just journal about how you'll feel when you see yourself starting to do that thing that you want to do, right? When you see yourself or see your business starting to take shape, or your career taking off, or maybe fizzling out. Right? I think when I left my last job, it was because it was fizzling and it really wasn't working for me. And I had to take this huge step that really brought up a lot of fears for sure. But you've got to know what happens when that comes up for you, right? So start writing, find those fears, and then you can start to look at, okay, what to do with it. But remember, it's just about being adaptable. Change requires adaptability. So once you kind of get what's happening, we've got to look at what else to do. All right. So I won't go any further with that. For now, take that time again to find that fear that could be working in the background that's stopping you from executing your goal, right? Simone had fears, I have fears, you have fears, okay? This is really a great starting point for you, and I'm gonna just kind of leave you with that work today, right? I just love to give you information, and I love to push you a bit. To recap, in case you joined us late, 1, make sure you love this video and share it. 2, we just talked about what gets in the way of executing your goals, your visions, and that truly there must be some kind of fears behind there. And, it's probably connected to how you feel, connected to how you think, connected to how you show up, especially if you are a procrastinator, you love putting things off, you're that forever student who never executes, that kid who still lives at home, etc. It's usually, there's a fear hanging around in the background. All right, so you can always go back and take a look at the questions that I would love for you to kind of journal, spend some time with to find your fears, so you can then look at, okay, what do I have to do about this? All right, so all right, guys, if this was super helpful for you, drop a 1 in the comments. Don't forget to like and share. I'm going to say, in one huge act of compassion and courage, hit share on this video or post it on your page. Someone needs to take a closer look at themselves, and that's the self-assessment part of tea. But anyway, ooh, look at those hearts. You guys are lovely. Anyway, I'm Amanda Fludd. Hey, Paula, what's up? Stay tuned, because I think I am going to do that class on procrastination and getting your goals, right? Otherwise, it's been a pleasure. Make sure you're on our mailing list so that you get when the lives come and you get if we do the class and stuff like that, right? But for now, that's your evening tea, and I'll see you guys next week. Oh, I love those hearts. You guys are so cute. Oh, I'm going to drop the link. Let me scooch this over. Don't mind my face moving. I'm going to drop the link for the newsletter thing so that we always stay connected. All right, guys, take care. Have a great night.